Hello. All 8 episodes of Dispatch are out. The story is over. I liked it, but there's something that I wanted to talk about. And this thing is the choices in this game. More specifically, I want to talk about why choices in Dispatch do not matter and why it's great, actually. Sounds paradoxical, right? Because even if you check the game page in Steam, it will say that Dispatch is a superhero workplace comedy where choices matter and every decision you make influences the unfolding narrative. I could not help myself but to remember about another game that also was advertised the exact same way, so I thought it would be cool to compare how these two games approach the same idea and cover pros and cons that follow each way. In Dispatch, we have a variety of dialogue choices and different behaviors. But in fact, the main storyline remains the same, no matter what line is chosen. You can romance Blonde Blazer or Invisible. You can even have a maidenless run. But the only change that will occur in the ending is the dialogue and the kissing scene. Nothing more. We still defeat Shroud, the Z-Team still saves the day, and the man becomes Mecha again. Same with cutting Sonar or Coop from the team. Each one of them plays the same role and becomes a bad guy that we have to fight in the end. But that's not really a problem too, because you still can forgive them and they will return to the team. Even though a lot of choices were made, none of them substantially changed the course of the game. And this is not the laziness of the writers or a budget limitation. This is a conscious approach to storytelling. Well, maybe this also was a budget limitation, because during development, there came a time when all the funds were almost gone, and Ad Hoc was close to shutting down the studio. Until Critical Role stepped in and saved them by financing the final stage of Dispatch development. But for the sake of the video, let's pretend that it was a deliberate creative decision. Choices in Dispatch are a tool for keeping the player's attention on the story. When you choose an answer in a dialogue or decide what your character will do in a situation, you feel like a participant in what's happening. Even though the plot doesn't change, your engagement still grows. And it works exactly the same way as in the Telltale games. You make emotionally intense decisions, and the plot follows roughly the same track, but you still feel like you were part of the story. The classic example is The Walking Dead with its choices like who are you going to save, Doug or Carly. They seem emotionally difficult at the moment. You think that these choices in this exact moment will affect your entire fate later in the game. But both characters die in the later episodes, and have almost no effect on the global story. They have been building this formula for years, lots of choices, few consequences, maximum emotions, and Dispatch uses the same approach, which is not surprising because Ad Hoc was founded by developers from Telltale. But there is also the opposite approach. Approach where your choices matter so much and the branching of the story is so intricate that it creates an absolutely unique playthrough for every person that played it. A vivid example is Detroit Become Human. Choices in this game change everything: who's alive, who's dead, who's betrayed, who's saved, what the ending will be. Each action is a new branch, each scene is potentially unique. It sounds perfect on paper, but there's a huge caveat. You see, when the script expands in all directions, the dramatic integrity falls. The writers are physically unable to work through each branch equally deeply and create equally compelling narrative. Because of this, some paths turn out to be a masterpiece, others are just okay, and others seem to be unfinished. The greater the variability, the more difficult it is to maintain the quality of the story. The Dispatch approach prioritizes dramatic integrity, the story remains intact, the pacing is controlled, and the player stays emotionally involved through moment-to-moment decisions. This ensures a strong, cohesive narrative, though players expecting large-scale consequences may feel underwhelmed. The Detroit approach, on the other hand, embraces true branching freedom. Choices reshape events, characters, and entire endings, offering high replayability and a sense of authorship. But this freedom comes at a cost: weaker structural cohesion, uneven quality across branches, and the constant challenge of maintaining a consistent, well-crafted story. And here's the key point: despite the fact that the choices in Dispatch are insignificant from a plot point of view, the players are still arguing about which romantic interest is better, Blonde Blazer or Invisible, which shows that choices fulfilled their function. And it doesn't matter that they don't change much globally, they made players care about the story and the characters. The choices help to make this story personal, rather than branching it out for the sake of variation. Dispatch shows us that sometimes the best choice is the one that doesn't change anything. But at this exact moment, the best choice is to subscribe to my channel, leave a like and check out my video about the peak Russian games you've never heard of. Bye.